Hey, 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 what's up, y'all? Yet another new day. And it is me, Double K, K Double, right here with you on the Cheap Pop Podcast. As always, here with my brother from another mother, Alpha. How you doing, bro?
The other half of the show now with a metal fucking rod through his face. That's the new fucking gimmick, boys.
He's
We're
been
here
tapped,
back
the
again
new
once
Thor,
again.
baby.
Can't go out in the rain no more.
Looking sharp, brother. Looking sharp.
We're gonna put an immediate fucking word in on the new series, What If, which came out probably as the next sleeper fucking hit.
All I can say after watching the first episode is this: Dear Marvel, don't hurt them. Marvel Universe. Don't hurt them like that. Don't hurt them like that. Like I was
funny.
so thoroughly impressed with this episode, and as a launch to a series. First and foremost, let's talk about the fact that they give us the Watcher. Okay,
yes,
the Watcher.
They instantly canonized the Watcher. Literally,
yes.
5 seconds in, canonized the Watcher.
And so okay, and then the Watcher explains about the multiverse, and then the Watcher explains that all it takes, like we all know, if you followed Marvel's clip, all it takes is one thing,
one decision
changes, and everything fucking changes. And this whole episode was that beautiful chaos that ensued. For those of you who don't know, go ahead.
The butterfly ripple effect to a fucking T.
Oh yeah, and we're not even just talking about like the Agent Carter side of it. I'm talking about like everything about it. Okay,
and
so step one is this: they take you back almost scene for scene to Captain America, the first Avenger, right before Steve Rogers goes to get into
literally take you scene by scene, the whole set piece, and every actor in it recreated in animation.
Yes, and then I think, did the dude attack before he went in the movie, or was that where something changed?
That's where something changed.
Yeah,
where something changed was Peggy Carter staying at all.
Right.
For one, the moment that changed everything was when he tells them all to leave and she goes with them. In this one, she decides to stay.
Okay.
But in canon, yes, before he gets in.
Yes. Okay. So the dude attacks. This time, Steve jumps out the damn thing. Dude pops a cap in his ass real quick.
I said because he got shot in the spine and had to go to leg therapy. I was instantly like, oh shit, they Barbara Gordon Steve.
So Steve gets shot. So Peggy decides in that moment, after she kills the bad guy before he gets away with the super serum, Peggy decides that she's gonna get her ass in the thing. And as the Watcher said, in that moment, everything changes.
It's very important too that this was all with the help of a young Howard Stark, who looks like an absolute fucking Chad the entirety of this shit.
Yes.
No one looks juicier than Howard fucking Stark in this.
And so she climbs in, thing closes, superpower up. Now you got, she stepped out that thing at like 6'11". Like she was LeBron when she stepped out that motherfucker. Like
that bitch went in as a regular person and came out talking about death by snoo snoo. That's what this was. That's what this was.
Love the Futurama reference there. But yeah, man, and she was feeling herself straight off the bat. But of course, and this is what I like about it, the authenticity. Of course, the general's like, nah, ain't no woman gonna be at the front of my no. And then I love Steve Rogers' comment. At least they didn't make you go around from USO to USO dressed up as some freak, fake punching people. I was just like,
fuck. Like, oof.
So of course, Howard Stark shows up. hands her the cap, what I call Captain Britain, but she became
It is.
Captain
No,
Carter.
you're right. I was
But
gonna
she got,
say this
yeah,
is
was it
where
Captain Britain?
I'm gonna drop in and start to explain some more of Alpha's logical theoretical bullshit. Let's go.
Go for it.
And we start this with my girlfriend who was watching it with me, looking at me and just being like, "Oh, so wait, like she's not Captain America." And so by this effect, as we'll get along eventually, if one superhero is replaced by another person, someone else takes the role of another superhero by this effect. And this is a very, very fucking serious point when we're talking about these Elseworld stories, because as we continue with these, this is going to be an ongoing theme where, because of this, now Captain Britain is no longer brother to Psylocke. And if you remember, ironically enough, a few weeks ago, I told you that Captain Britain is indeed an actual Marvel character who is the brother to Psylocke. And it's fucking dorky because he looks stupid and he shoots rainbows out of his hands. He's a huge dork. All right. This is cooler. This is Chad Peggy Carter just punching and fucking killing whatever moves. I'm gonna get to that in a quick fucking second, though. I have some comments about her literally murdering people through this entire fucking episode.
Peggy was fire, baby, fire.
Literally, no. The best part was when I realized, like, oh wait, she's not doing this non-lethally. She's just fucking murking them. And I realized that when she grabs the motorcycle and chucks it at two motherfuckers, and it explodes in flames, and they're just eaten up by it, and just no remorse. She just keeps going like she didn't just fucking murder guys. She didn't murder two motherfuckers in cold blood right there.
Definitely like, ain't Captain America, baby.
And even better when she's later fighting in the fucking sky and she just grabs the pilot and chucks the motherfucker out into the open air.
Well, I love the fact that she uses the adamantium shield to go through the propeller.
Yeah. Literally, to go through the fucking propeller at Mach fucking speed. Like, no, Peggy Carter is a fucking savage and is just straight up murdering people for 30 minutes. That's what this fucking was, and it was goddamn great.
Oh, yes, it was. Oh, yes, it was. So on that tip of what you were talking about one superhero becoming a different superhero, there was another switch off of this. And this was my favorite switch. Steve Rogers doesn't become Captain America, but he does become the first Iron Man. And I love it. I loved every minute of it. The minute he showed up in that suit, I was like,
oh, I'm juiced. Shit. This is it. This is what I came here for.
You know,
that's what I was waiting for.
I'm like, this dude, so now he's the first fucking Iron Man, because Howard Stark makes scrawny little Steve Rogers, since he never becomes buff Captain America. He makes scrawny little Steve Rogers a suit that's powered by the Tesseract that he can fucking fly around in and shit. And I'm here for all of this shit. Great. Man. I'm here for all of this.
As a quick tidbit, I'm gonna go right back to that, I promise. But as a really quick tidbit, I did notice that through the entirety of this episode, Disney did pull a daring move and did not in any way, shape, or form censor the word Nazi, Third or Fourth Reich. They did not censor either of those terms, which are usually, in this network sense, usually censored 100% of the fucking time.
Yeah.
And I did note that they just did not, they did not pull any punches with this episode, and I think that was fucking awesome.
And I hope that means that Disney it's a good thing to let people beat up on Nazis. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. No, you're right. When motherfuckers are like, oh, I'm protesting violence in video games, but talk about how bad Wolfenstein and Doom is. I'm literally murdering Nazis and demons. Why are you mad?
Why are you mad? Exactly. What offends you about that? Are you a Satanist? Like,
I'm killing Hitler. Am I wrong for killing Hitler? Please. Oh man.
But back on the Iron Man thing.
Yes, it's amazing that right there. And as I talked about, as one changes, another must change places as well. It's an amazing effect going through this, and as that's a very key plot point of all these little Elseworld stories here. That ripple effect, where it's not just like one person becomes this now. No, every event and most of the other superheroes around them, especially close to them, are changed. And my favorite being when Bucky nearly falls to his death, and it's the same exact shot
Yeah.
tit for fucking tat of where he dies. And instead, Peggy Carter doesn't drop him and sets him on it. And he says, "You nearly took my arm off," grabbing the arm that he lost in that fall.
Yeah.
Not only that, but then Steve Rogers is then subject to the event that originally killed Bucky in the 616.
Yeah.
And which is an even more important factor here, that it's not they switch identities. No, they mismatch the events that happened to them as well, which is fucking insane.
Which technically means, and this was on my mind through the whole thing, Bucky never becomes the Winter Soldier. Because it was when he fell. Because it was when he fell that the Russians got a hold of him and made him the Winter Soldier. So technically, Bucky never becomes the Winter Soldier. Now, I don't know what happened with Steve when they took his ass, but yeah.
There you go.
You know,
a boy smart.
You know, but yeah, like, and I would love to see them. See, here's the thing that pisses me off. That always pissed me off about the What If comic books and pisses me off about the What If show. I want more. I want more. Right. I want more of that Captain Carter.
So good. I don't want this to be a one-off.
Yeah, but each episode it's like even when reading the comic book, that's kind of why I've put them down, because it would be like sometimes I'd read them and be like, no, I want more. Like, I want more of this world. That's why the whole What If Apocalypse series is one of my favorite ones, because they actually fleshed it out and had it affect the entire universe, and all these changes and things happened. And it was amazing. Now, I crave more Captain Carter. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to what's coming up next, because episode 2 is supposed to be Star-Lord T'Challa. So I'm juiced about that. But fudge, I want more Captain Carter.
Fuck, man, right? No, you're right. Like, I want more, and that's the point, man. Like, there's like Peggy Carter and I hate I hate any connotation that could be thrown against this as well, because like Peggy Carter as super soldier is one of the best fucking ideas that comics has ever been exposed to, because she is not just female Captain America. Yeah. No. This is Peggy Carter, a character notably known for having no powers, now given fucking powers, and that's so dope.
And see, before we get to the last scene of the episode, I'll say this. Backtracking a little bit to what you first brought up. It wasn't just the fact that she was killing fools; it was her nonchalantness in it that made it so great. Yeah. It was like she was just like, "Oh yeah, no, I know I can. Oh yeah, you office your arm, you grenade in the hand. There you go." Like, she just didn't give a fuck. Like, and that was such an amazing thing about it. Like, it wasn't like Peggy Carter with a heart. Oh my God, I don't want to hurt these people. Peggy was like, oh, you doubt a woman? Let me show you what a woman can fucking do. You know?
Yes. And see now. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and I was here for every minute of it. Like, I was glued to my screen.
Fucking awesome. It was great. And see, now I want to point something out that I pointed out before, that now I just want to add to that little repertoire. Now, between Bucky, Steve, Sam, and now Peggy, and also John Walker, we have seen, what's that, five different styles of fighting the Captain America style. Yeah. And they all take and twist different versions of Chris Evans, and it's kind of like a little branching like tree of fighting styles with Captain America, and they all start with Chris Evans' mix of like boxing and grappling and judo throws mixed in with throwing the shield. And you have all these different takes now, where you have Sam is like the lightweight agile version of that fighting style. You have Bucky, who is a ground and pound version of that style, just a bruiser. Yeah, exactly. And then you have John Walker, who is unbearably brutal. And then you have Peggy Carter now, who is just an unflinching powerhouse. And it's just these multiple different styles of Captain America. And it's really fucking cool.
I was gonna say that is pretty tight. Now, they did keep true with one thing. Well, they kept true with many things from the movie. But this was yet another thing that they kept true with, in the fact that both Peggy and whatchamacallit disappeared. And Steve disappeared for 70 years, but for completely different reasons. Peggy's version, the Red Skull doesn't necessarily use the Tesseract to power a plane to go try to bomb New York. He tries to bring out the Hydra creature from outer space and bring it in to help Hydra take over the world. And Peggy with a sword, not giving a fuck,
chopping off a fucking sword,
right, just because she fucking could, ends up fighting this thing and basically forcing it back into the Tesseract. But in the process of doing so, she has to go and she appears basically in the Avengers movie where Loki would have appeared, which changed that whole series of events. She appears there after 70 years and is greeted by Nick Fury and Hawkeye.
Yep.
And I believe it's Hawkeye that recognizes her, right? Like, this is Captain Carter. Yeah. And yeah. Even though it did that scene did out before we jump into the significance of that scene, did bring out one of the best memes. Is it showed the scene as it was, and in the last scene it shows her, and she goes, "Well, does he have a nephew?" And I'm like, that's so cool.
Does he have a nephew?
So cool. Oh man,
it's you can't say Steve Rogers didn't just bang Peggy Carter and then wake up 70 years later and then bang Sharon Carter and then go back in time so that he can bang Peggy Carter for another 30 fucking years.
You know what I'm hearing behind that tail? Pimp juice. That's all.
When you have one chance at using time to your advantage and you use it for fucking more ass, Steve Rogers moment. Fuck yeah. But no, the significance of that scene. You're right though. No, the significance of that scene is really cool though. And as a few small last tidbits, Sebastian Stan did voice Bucky in this, which was really cool. That was Sebastian Stan. And then also as well, there were a lot of scenes in this that were, like I said, like 2 or 3 times now, absolute
story
right on the mark, complete replications of the camera shots that they used in the movies.
Yeah.
And so the shot approaching the chamber when Steve is going to become the fucking super soldier. Yeah, sorry, lost my fucking words there. That shot is completely as it is from the movie. When Bucky nearly falls off the train, the exact fucking shot side by side. When there's the shot in the Avengers when Captain America is being introduced, and how is he introduced? 1, 2, 3, punching bag, launches 3 feet forward. And now, after she was contacted, Peggy Carter was introduced with a shot going from her leg up of her 1, 2, 3, punching off a punching bag 3 spaces into the wall.
Oh yeah.
Little things like that recreated over and over again, as well as we talked about it a little bit before a long while ago, the scene when, like, again, shot for shot, takes off the skin and shows that he's the Red Skull and then pulls up the pistol. It's not in the same setting, but he pulls out the pistol and the camera angle is exactly as it was in the movie.
Oh.
Like little things like that, attention to detail to the fact that a lot of the events in the Marvel Universe are absolutely 100% inescapable, such as someone getting hurt on that cliff or someone becoming Captain America. But what can change is who it is.
Right. It almost makes it a mantle. You know what I'm saying? Like it almost makes it a mantle.
It's a mantle. It's less more individualized that way. Yeah.
Right. And so, and yes, Peggy Carter was the perfect person because they could have went with anybody. They could have said, what if anybody? But Peggy Carter, to me, was the perfect. They could have said, what if Bucky was the one to get the super soldier serum before Steve, and told that story. But instead,
still Peggy Carter, it was the more interesting choice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I believe that was Haley Atwell, right? That voice, voiced Captain Carter. Yeah.
I believe so.
I could hear the little toot in her voice.
You can hear it.
Yeah. And I love the little toot in her voice. Don't get me wrong, but I could hear it. But
literally,
what I was talking about the significance of that last scene is that last scene effectively changes Avengers.
It
completely changes Avengers
because remember, Why did the Avengers form?
Because Loki entered by using the Tesseract to try to take over the world.
So what happens when Loki doesn't enter through the Tesseract? No
Everything
Avengers.
changes. Yep. No Avengers.
Or
That's
more accurately, they'll form for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
Or it'll be because of Loki at a different space and time.
I will say, yeah, because their forming is probably an inevitability.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, their forming is
yeah.
inevitability. It's just the reason why that would change.
No, yeah, it does. I don't mean no Avengers like fucking permanently. It's just the idea that in that time and space, it prevents the Avengers from forming where they are canonically formed. Canonically,
Right.
Jesus Christ.
And this Avengers would not have Captain America. It would still have Steve Rogers. And I wonder if it would still have Tony Stark, but then I wonder who Tony Stark becomes.
Exactly. I just want to say that one of my favorite Elseworld stories of all time is when Tony Stark becomes Sorcerer Supreme and takes the spot of Doctor Strange instead, just because that one's metal as fuck.
Hell yeah. I would love to see with Tony's smarts and all the magical power in the world. That would be an amazing thing to see.
It's that his version of the Sorcerer Supreme is supposed to be the perfect mix of science and mystic all in one. It's so cool.
I have to see about reading that.
I'm gonna get my hands on that.
I have to see. Well, I got to see if they have it on Marvel Unlimited. If they do, I can read it on my phone.
We should.
But yeah. So now, like I said, episode 2 is looking to be basically T'Challa as Star-Lord, and probably the script and with a little bit of tweaks for Guardians of the Galaxy. The thing that makes me happy about this is that it is actually Chadwick Boseman voicing T'Challa. So these are actually his last recorded lines for any Marvel script. So I might watch with a tear in my eye, but I know I'll enjoy it.
No, yeah, and I think it's really important now what If is doing, especially with having Chadwick Boseman's appearance and really exploring the things that are absolutely impossible, seeing that multiple people's contracts are over, and now we have cases like Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, very much so.
So I think What If has so much capability now with that in mind, knowing that even that episode is now possible still, right?
And I love how, and like I said, I am starting to understand and like how they've based everything around the MCU instead of trying to go from the pure comic book scripts and turning those into What If animated series. They're going strictly from what people already know. So you can be an avid long-term comic book fan and still enjoy it, but you can be somebody who didn't really start watching any of this or understanding any of this until Iron Man in 2008, but have been a fan since, and you can still understand and get and enjoy the content that they're giving to you. But after that first episode, let me say this: I genuinely believe that Marvel has another hit on their hands. They're third in a row.
I agree. They're on a fucking streak
or fourth,
with these Disney Plus shows. Fourth. Yeah, I forget fourth. They're on a fucking streak with this shit. Their original content that they're putting out for the MCU is, in more ways, a lot better than some of the things that they put out in the middle section of the MCU set of movies. No jab to them at all. But these are just so fucking well done.
Amen. All right, so we're gonna have to cut it there. We're down to our last minute of this half. So coming up on the next half, we're actually breaking down 2 movies that if you've had your eyes open, you've probably seen them, but they're not what you think. I can guarantee you'll guess one, but the other, I don't think you'll see coming. I've talked about it on the show, but this time my boy's about to hit you with it. So
this time we're both doing it.
Yep. Let's see. So this is the Cheap Pop Podcast. You're either listening to us on Spreaker or you're watching us on YouTube. Either way, we thank you. We'll see you on the second half. Peace. we are back. And like I always do when we come back, I tell you that this pretty face right here that you see on your screen is the one and only K double K. And I'm here with that pretty brother over there, Alpha.
As usual, my old boy Silver Fox over there opens the goddamn show.
Silver Fox, I like it.
For Silver Fox, it's the gray hair and the beard. That's what you call it. That's what you call it. But we're going to roll into our next one here. What we're going to be talking about, of course, the banger that has been the new Suicide Squad, led by another Silver Fox himself, now fucking confirmed Knuckles, Idris fucking Elba.
Yes.
He's fucking Knuckles. It's great.
Man. Yes, his voice is going to be amazing.
It's going to be fucking beautiful.
But yeah, I like this movie almost more than I like the original. And like yourself, like you mentioned off air, the original for me is a guilty pleasure. Like, I don't give a fuck what nobody says. The original Suicide Squad movie was one of the best DC
to differentiate them
made.
Going forward, just to differentiate them, I refer to the other one as Suicide Squad 2016, and I refer to just this one as the Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, okay.
Yeah. Just to differentiate it.
Suicide Squad or SQ16, you know, if we want to be all millennial about it, right? SQ16, like that movie, it was great in its own way. And like I said, it was pretty much the best DC movie of that particular generation of DC movies. I would say this one is similar. It's it's pretty much I loved it. Maybe you can call it a soft spot for James Gunn in my heart, because you could see James Gunn all over
James Gunn written all over everything. The scripting, the characters, every single fucking aspect of this is just bleeding the fucking Gunn brothers. And in fact, so much so that first fucking cameo we're going to talk about on here, the other fucking Gunn brother, forget his name, the one that cameos in every single one of James Gunn movies, makes a knock at fucking Rick Flag or whoever in the hallways, and he's fucking Calendar Man, like the Batman villain. And I only know this because if you look really closely at the thing going across around his head, that's actually it's actually a big fucking calendar in it's like in like weird fucking like numeric text. And I remember looking at it and I was like, he's fucking Calendar Man. Like, they casted the Gunn brother as fucking Calendar Man.
Awesome. Well, here was what blew my mind about the movie, is you get introduced to all these characters. And don't get me wrong, Weasel, like, what the fuck? like I cannot wait. They actually have me juiced to see what the fuck his powers are. It's just like Alligator Loki. Like, they just have me juiced to see what the fuck his powers are.
What the fuck you do?
What the fuck do you do? But they zone you in on all these characters, and you're like, yeah. And they're played by like all-star people. And
we get this. We get Team One. Let's roll with this here. Let's break this down. Team One is comprised of Blackguard, played by Pete fucking Davidson, and then we have Savant in live action, played by Michael fucking Rooker, and then we have coming along a returning Boomerang, Margot Robbie's still in there as Harley Quinn, and this is all just Team One.
Yep. And who was the dude that the arms came off? TDK, the Dynamite Kid.
TDK in comics, that is his name is literally fucking Arm Fall Off Boy. In comics, his name, I am not fucking with you. I am dead serious. That motherfucker's name in the comics is Arm Fall Off Boy, and that's why in this he was like, I'm TDK, and Javelin was like, why do they call you that? What does that stand for? And he was like, nothing. It just means TDK, because the detachable kid, Arm Fall Off Boy, is one of the most frowned upon, clowned on, and shat upon characters in all of comic fucking history.
And we see why a little bit later in the movie, but he's actually played by a star, like a big name dude. I can't think of who it was. Oh man,
really?
Yeah, I have to come back to that. It was somebody, because I was like, who the fuck he played in a Marvel movie? It was like, they were like, this dude's in the Suicide
I didn't even notice
Squad.
that.
I'm like, who the fuck is he?
Who the fuck is that?
Oh, he was TDK. Hold on. You know, I got to use my Google on this one.
No, look, I was gonna say, look it up. Get that shit, because now I'm curious. Because now I'm fucking curious. All right. But just today I
Who
learned a
is
few.
Oh, Nathan Fillion.
Really? That was Nathan Fillion?
What? Yes. Who was TDK in the Suicide Squad?
According to Yahoo News, Nathan Fillion, the Suicide
Fuck.
Squad
Holy shit. Good shit.
Nathan Fillion. Yes, that's who it was. Because I was sitting
Holy
there and
shit.
I was sitting there with my girlfriend, and I was like, Nathan Fillion was supposed to be in the movie. Oh no, I wasn't with my girlfriend. I was talking to my homeboy Steve. I was like, Nathan Fillion was supposed to be in the movie. He's like, I was like, who? I was like, he played Rick Flag, right? And he's like, no, dude, that's the same dude that played Rick Flag in the first movie. I was like, was it? He's like, yeah. I was like, are you sure that wasn't Nathan Fillion? And so I went on and looked it up. And yeah, they was like, he was the Dynamite Kid or Detachable Kid. I was like, oh, hell no. Oh, man.
Fucking hell, that's funny. Fucking hell, like, but I learned today a really interesting fact, and it's that if you look at Team 1 versus Team 2, we got to roll a little bit faster now, don't we? Shit. Team 1 versus Team 2 are meant to be anagrams of who Amanda Waller likes and who Amanda Waller does not fucking like. You'll see that Team 2 is comprised of Peacemaker, who Amanda Waller invests a fucking lot in, Ratcatcher 2, Ratcatcher 1 is a fucking amazing Batman villain, as a side off real quick. Ratcatcher 2, then you have Bloodsport and King Shark. A lot of heavy fucking hitters there. And then you have Team 1, who is comprised of Javelin, fucking Weasel, Blackguard, fucking, I forgot the bitch's name, it was like Bo or some shit, whatever. The fucking orange bitch. And then you got all these people who were like complete lackeys, and then you have Harley Quinn and Rick Flag, who is like super offset by this. Also, I just want to say they did Boomerang dirty as fuck. They did Boomerang dirty as fuck. They did Boomerang dirty. I'm mad. But the whole reason is that Team 1 is comprised of people that they 100% knew were gonna fucking die, and were there just to divert attention to the beach. And she knew that everyone there was going to fucking die, and she wanted them to die because she specifically didn't like them. This is made more poignant by the fact that in fucking lore, in the movie, do look it up if you want to, fucking quote me on this, and I do believe that this is also why the whole movie she spends so much time trying to build fucking Idris Elba's character is slipping my mind. How fuck.
Bloodsport, wasn't he?
Bloodsport, trying to build Bloodsport into a leader, because Rick Flag was put on Team 1 and meant to die. Because at some point before the events of the second Suicide Squad movie, Rick Flag insults Amanda Waller's colorful t-shirt by saying it looks like a bunch of clowns took a shit on her. And that's why Rick Flag was placed in Team 1, and Amanda Waller essentially sentenced him to death.
Damn. That's cold. Yeah, that Amanda Waller bitch is cold. But she got what she deserved. That bitch took a fucking pole to the back of her head.
That was a 9-iron. That was a 9-iron. That was a putter. That was a putter. She hit that bitch in the back of the head with a putter.
Dropped her cold.
God damn it. Oh my god. I never thought I would laugh so hard at seeing Viola Davis get hit in the back of the head with a fucking golf club.
That was hilarious.
But no, it's through the events of the story though, it's told over and over that basically I feel like it's the most accurate rendition of the Suicide Squad that could have ever been shown at this point, because the whole gimmick of the Suicide Squad, hence the fucking name, is that nobody survives.
Nobody survives.
And the only person that usually does survive is named either Harley Quinn, or their name is Rick Flag Sr., Jr., or the Third.
So not necessarily survives, but there's a lineage there.
Yeah, there's a lineage there. And usually, like, at least, like, each member of the Flag family is able to last, like, maybe 3 or 4 iterations of the team, which is pretty fucking consistent, you know?
Oh, man. What gets me, what I will say, I was left wondering one thing real quick, and that was, so Deadshot was just like, fuck y'all. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like where the fuck was Will Smith's character? Like, I understand Will Smith probably didn't want to do the movie, or they didn't invite him to do the movie or whatever, but I'm like y'all, like Deadshot was just like, fuck y'all. Cause I thought he was still in custody at the end of the first Suicide Squad movie. You know, so I'm like, why
Will
didn't she pull?
Smith. Will Smith turned down the chance to be in this Suicide Squad movie so that he could be a part of that one Independence Day remake.
Oh, okay.
He turned down the role of Deadshot to return again to be able to do that.
Okay.
And that's also why there is like, you can literally I said this to someone and I was like, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking his performance and I'm not knocking the character's history and genuinely their appearance in comics. But you can't deny when you look at the story, you can see the spots where it was meant for Deadshot's character and everything associated with Deadshot.
For sure. For sure.
You can see where he was pulled out and where Idris Elba's character was inserted in multiple positions. And that's not a knock at all. It was fucking great. No. Idris Elba fucking killed it. And much like Will Smith did in the first movie, I consider honestly that in terms of like raw, genuine acting, Idris Elba put this movie on his fucking back.
Oh yeah, and carried it. Yeah. Oh hell yeah. See, here's the thing with it. It reminded every time so a little backstory. About 2 days before, right? Mm-hmm. I watched the Suicide Squad. I saw this video on Facebook and TikTok called "I'm Idris Elba." And it's basically this dude that sort of does look like Idris Elba walking around, and he walks into this coffee shop that has a sign out that says barista one, and he grabs it, slams it on the table. I can be a barista. And the guy's like, oh, so do you have any experience? He goes, no, I don't. I'm fucking Idris Elba. And it shows him back making coffee, and he's like, I'm Idris Elba. I'm Idris Elba, bitch. I'm Idris Elba. I'm Idris Elba, bitch. Hilarious. Find it on YouTube or whatever.
Oh my fucking God. I want that edited into like after he kills Peacemaker.
And it's just such a great thing. And every time I saw Bloodsport with the mask on and everything, I kept just thinking, I'm Idris Elba, bitch.
Idris Elba.
I'm Idris Elba. Because if you think about it too, the last thing that I saw him in was in Hobbs and Shaw as the bad guy. It's fucking Idris Elba, dude. Like, it's so like this dude never doesn't play a badass. Like,
always. He never fucking doesn't play badass. You're right. It's fucking great. It's amazing. But I do more than anything want to point out the amazing attention to detail in the arc of King fucking Shark.
Yeah.
Every Suicide Squad team always has a heavy. Sometimes it's Chemo, sometimes it's Parasite, and I look forward to those two characters being eventually brought up as well. But my favorite heavy in Suicide Squad history has always been King fucking Shark.
Yes.
And I love this version of him because usually he's a lot more animalistic and brutal, which he was in this, but nowhere near as much as he is in the comics. Literally just ripping people in fucking half, which was fucking awesome. But the arc that King Shark had in this fucking movie and the attention to the loneliness that King Shark has is really fucking cool. And like, it's really fucking cool. Literally, like, it's great. It's fucking great. And again, I do want to point out that John Cena acted his dick off in this movie. You can say whatever you want about John Cena as a human being, especially with his political standing as it currently stands and all, but for what it's fucking worth, John Cena walked into this movie, walking into a movie probably this is the most violent thing that Cena's ever fucking walked into, bar none.
Yeah.
And he fucking killed it. He nailed the stupid raunchy comedy and fucking Bloodsport saying, why are you here in your tidy whities? And Peacemaker responding with, that's just racist. Deserves a fucking award in and of itself. Like that interaction right there made me fucking piss my pants in the theaters. It was great. That and when they had fucking Thinker and she was like, I will shove like 8 rats up your ass, and he was like, the outcome won't be what you think it'll be. And I heard some bitch like I was in the movies, and when that line was said, I heard some chick like 9 rows back up just fucking lose it. Just starts fucking pissing her pants laughing. It was the funniest shit.
Oh, John Cena giving us the good shit. Gotta love it. Him, a lot of people hated him in Trainwreck. I loved him. I thought he was funny.
He was funny as shit in Trainwreck.
Yeah.
Right. Also, as a finish off, best line in the movie will always be nobody loves to show off. Yeah, but not if they're showing off something that's dope as fuck before someone just fucking explodes. Violent and bloody mess.
Oh Go see the Suicide Squad. It gets our definite stamp of approval. If you have
Oh,
HBO
yeah.
Max, check it out while it's there. All
Check
right.
that shit out.
So this movie, hold on,
Go ahead. Ooh, all good.
has actually
All
left the theaters and has left HBO Max. It was on HBO Max initially.
Yes.
Alpha just recently saw it. Did you see it in theaters?
No. Saw it on
no,
HBO
no.
Max.
On HBO
Oh no, no,
Max.
no. I bought it on Vudu. I bought it on
Voodoo,
Vudu.
okay. On Voodoo. A movie that I've spoken about here before by the name of In the Heights. It's a musical, stage musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda that was turned into an actual film movie. I would love to see what they would do with Hamilton if they did do that. But Alpha, I'm gonna let you kick this off because they've sort of already heard what I think of it. So why don't I let you kick this off and then I'll bring in the rear.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely, 100%. I really fucking love this movie. Like I always talk, and we always come on here and talk about how much we fucking love musicals. So yeah, we may be a little bit biased. No shit. But like we fucking love musicals on the Cheap Pop podcast. It's a given. But I walked into this not really knowing anything about it at all. My fucking SO went and watched it in the movies with her family and finished the movie, and she was like, I just fucking cried like 9 times. So I'm gonna make you watch this movie. And I was like, sweet, I'm into it.
Hell yeah.
And obviously, of course, she makes me fucking watch it, and I enjoyed every single fucking second of it, from the soundtrack to everything that was presented. It's a long fucking movie too, and the only thing that I can still say about it is I wish there was more from what the actual musical was as well. Like I wish there was more from what the actual Broadway play was, and I know it can't be as long as that shit, but fuck do I wish it was with that much content, because it was that good.
They hit all the key points very well.
They did. They hit all the key points very well without missing it, and I only know that context because after watching it, I've studied it like a motherfucker. And much like you, I would just be sitting there like, damn, I started chilling to the fucking songs a little bit, like just in the back of my fucking head. Like no, it gets stuck in your head. Everything in this movie is really fucking catchy, and it might not look the part, and it's not something that I talk about very much, but I may be pale as shit, but believe it or not, I'm more Mexican than I am anything else. I speak fluent fucking Spanish, and I was raised in a Spanish household.
Right on.
And,
right on.
You know,
so you actually understood the whole movie.
I understood every word of this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I love this. I love this shit. This is what I'm used to. You know, I love this shit a lot. And that's why I love this as much as I do. It was a great representation of the culture that I do know, and also different parts of the culture that I am not familiar with yet. This is probably the most that the Latin corner of New York has ever been exposed to at this point. And it's fucking awesome.
I will say one of my favorite, on that same tip and on that same subject, one of my favorite songs, or should I say my favorite song on the soundtrack, is, outside of the opening sequence, is Carnaval de Barrio.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't understand about a third of the words that are said in the song, but I feel it. I feel it.
That's all you got to do. You don't need to understand it.
Oh, it had me in my living room just hit the salsa, just like because there's just such energy in it, and you're right. To me, okay, I'm trying to think of a movie that or a movie from, think if you got dark skin like me, think Lean on Me, Cooley High Harmony, that like, or Cooley High, like
God, lean
that
on,
type
lean
of
on
feel.
Right now you're speaking my shit. Mm-hmm.
And so it had that type of feel where it doesn't matter if you're from there. It doesn't matter if you speak the language. It doesn't matter if you are or aren't of any type of Latin descent. This movie had something to pull. It talked of themes that everybody knows: family, love, community. These are all things that people understand. And so as you listen, I still, to an extent, I still find my heart sinking when I listen to Alabanza.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, I cried hard the first time I saw it.
Absolutely.
But the song itself is just so beautiful.
It's very fucking powerful.
And it's funny.
Absolutely right.
Here's a quick laugh moment out of that. I showed my daughter the movie the other day because she's a big Lin-Manuel Miranda fan. Like I told you guys on the show earlier, she
Yeah.
introduced me to Hamilton.
Yeah.
She she was watching that and she goes, he gets through the entire opening part of the song and they start singing Alabanza and she says, Daddy, what's Alabanza? I'm like, he just said it. Like right at the beginning.
He literally
are you not
starts by saying what
I'm like, the guy says right there, it's to raise this thing to God and literally sing its praises. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, I love you, child. But
you put this
attention.
on. You did this.
But
That's so funny.
Like I said, everything about it you could understand. Benny is one of my favorite characters.
Fucking Benny, dude. Yes.
Christopher
Benny.
Williams, the guy who played George Washington in Hamilton, is the guy who plays Benny on the stage play.
I think you told me that. I think you I think you told me about that. Yeah.
But Benny, like, the Kurt Hawkins is, I believe, or Corey Hawkins is, I believe, the name
Corey
of the
Hawkins.
guy who actually played him in the movie. And man, did he kill that part?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, as an energy and as a representation, it has really important lessons and notions about culture and community that do take a lot of nuance. But when you understand the deeper meaning of things, it starts to really, really hit you. For instance, it's a little part of it, but it means a lot to me personally, understanding a lot of different parts of culture in the most recent few years of my life. For instance, there's a part of the movie where she goes through and she's dancing with a bunch of fucking guys in the club.
Yeah.
And of course, because the men are being provocative, as fucking horny dudes are gonna be, Usnavi gets fucking mad and starts talking to her like she's being a fucking whore. And like she's just like, and then the way he words is like, you were just rubbing your ass on everybody in the neighborhood. What are you talking about?
You've been shaking your ass with like half of the heights. Yeah, that's,
like,
that's my line.
Word for word.
Yeah.
And that's how it's worded. But it's not. And then as somebody who now understands it, it's because there's a massive ripple in understanding these cultures that in a lot of other cultures, dancing like that is extremely fucking provocative and extremely fucking sexual and means you're just a complete whore. But when it comes to those cultures, it's normal to dance with multiple people that way. And multiple people assimilating into that culture look at it that way. And a lot of relationships implode and don't go well because of a misunderstanding of that in that culture. Yeah. And so by the end of this, it's not something that's even said throughout the movie. But if you ever get the chance to watch the movie again, I want you to look at something very specific. Look at the way that Vanessa dances when she is dancing with everybody else. And even in that scene, when all the other dudes are trying to feel up on her and shit, look at the way she dances with them. And then look at the way that she dances with Usnavi later in the movie.
Despite when they dance during the Carnival.
Carnival, literally in the Carnival del Barrio. You see that through that. She dances, even with that and multiple men being provocative around her, she doesn't reciprocate any of that for even a second. But when she dances with Usnavi, she's throwing herself at him in every single fucking sense of the word. And it's a very little detail. And I only say this because it's a very, very small flip note and one of the many different cultural lessons throughout this movie.
No, big time. You know, the part that kind of told Community or screamed Community to me the most was the storyline around Abuela. Like her importance to the entire community as being this central person where everybody, like he says, just she's not really his grandma, but that's what
she raised me. But she raised me and everybody else on the block.
Exactly. And that's something that I don't think happens as much today as it used to happen. You know, that's very much an old school cultural.
As somebody who was raised by his Spanish speaking grandmother, I very much resonate with that.
Yeah. And you know, like I talk about like in the sense of like,
but no, I know what you mean. Even in an incorporeal way, it's represented that way. And especially back then, and it is a very it's more Southern and Eastern tradition for that to be like that. But you are right that that dynamic of an older woman taking care of the neighborhood isn't as prevalent nowadays as it was back then.
Yeah. And then just like I said, so much that I can relate to without
Yeah.
ever being Latin.
Exactly.
Like just so much for me to connect with. The interactions between Kevin and Nina.
Literally.
Like,
Yeah.
like those types of things are things that I can relate to as a father. You'll do anything to make sure your child has the best of the best of the best. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's just so much. Like I said, there's so
Yeah.
much. One
There's
last
a
thing I
lot
want
of
to touch
different-
on.
Real
Go ahead.
quick, yeah, you're right. Just as a one line, you're right. There's a lot of, that's why I worded it that way. Like, for what it does to represent the Latin community, 100%. And that needs to be accredited to and such 100%. And anyone who says that this movie does not represent enough people, I tell you to go fuck yourself, because you don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. But
well,
this
no.
movie holds just a million different little lessons, not about just the Latin community, but about community and culture as a whole. Yeah.
Okay. So kind of last subject, because our timer just went off. I'm gonna give us a little extra time.
Roll.
Well, I'll say last subject, the song 96,000, which is kind of the center point of the movie, of the musical and movie as a whole.
Yeah.
My favorite line in the movie comes from that song, and it's a sequence when they're going around asking everybody what they would do, and of course Benny comes through first, talking about he go to a business school. Petey wants to buy a bunch of fucking things of spray paint, stuff like that, and it comes all the way back around, because that's one of the things I loved about it too. Is Usnavi wasn't the center point of that song. He was, in the sense that his verse was kind of in the middle of it all, but he wasn't the center point of that song. Whereas like with the opening sequence, he's the center point of the entire song and introducing you to kind of everybody throughout the neighborhood.
That's one way of putting it. Absolutely. Yeah.
When they come back around to him, his line when he says, it's silly when we get into these crazy hypotheticals. If you really want to bag it, you gotta set a or make a list of goals and cross them off as you complete one. It's like it's one of those sequences where it's like you got all these people talking about what if I win the lotto, what if I win the lotto, and in the middle of all this, you got this dude who's like, yeah, fuck the lotto, dude. Y'all want to make some money?
Do something about it.
Like, do something. Like, get out there and fucking make a list. Fucking check shit off. And trust me, the rest will come. And I love that whole dynamic. Just like Sonny's verse in it takes things to a whole different level. And to me, it was one of my favorite verses, just because you have this whole sequence where Sonny's in the pool doing the dance moves with the guys, and everybody else is just sitting there like, what? Are you seeing this shit? Like, this kid's killing it. And the things that he says during that one sequence, once again, very themes that are carried throughout the whole movie. And it's just one of those that song in itself and that sequence is one of my favorite, especially for, and I'll say this one last thing before I turn it over to you to close it out. The line with Usnavi, when right after he gets done and he turns it over to Vanessa, and he's like, 96K, go. And she starts singing about leaving town. He's like, we was all just joking. Stay broken.
And he just turns around and knows. I know you're right. I fucking loved that part when he's like, "What would you do?" And she just starts breaking into how she leaves them behind, and he just very slowly back, and he's just like, he's just joking, and just slinks off fucking camera like he didn't say anything at all. Fucking perfect.
Oh man, but go ahead, bro. Break it down.
Yeah, man. Closing thoughts. It was all in all an amazing fucking movie. It was worth as long as it was, and all the hype with it. I'm really surprised that I'm hearing a lot that it's not anywhere near as successful as Hamilton in the box office, which breaks my heart, because this movie is fucking amazing and I love it. And honestly, at this point, I would consider it probably in one of my favorite musicals at this point. Not my favorite. Little Shop of Horrors is just too good.
Well, see, I'll say this. I think the only place where it, not the movie fails, society fails, is that we're in this sequence of society right now where if anything is made specifically for a specific culture, like I'll be honest with you, as great as Black Panther is, I don't think Black Panther does
Yep.
as well in today's climate, because anytime anything is focused on celebrating one particular culture instead of everybody on the fucking planet at the same time, people have a tendency to take offense to it. And this is definitely
It's-
something that is celebrating Latin culture to its fullest extent. And like I said, for me, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah,
But
I
some
loved it.
people
I
don't
loved
feel
it.
that way.
The way that I word it is that nowadays there's a problem with the way things are being seen, not how they're presented. And a lot of people will look at movies like these and be like, well, what about my culture in this? And what if I did this with my culture? And you'd be mad if I did this with my culture, though, right? And it's like,
No.
but here's the difference. Just because the movie focalizes one culture doesn't mean that it's against others.
Yeah.
Just because it's for and it's a huge plus for one culture doesn't mean it's a big middle finger to another. And that's what a lot of people had a problem with Black Panther. And you are right. If Black Panther were to drop right now, it would be seen like that in a way that I didn't think about that. But you're right. I think it would be seen as, this isn't for these people, this is against mine. And I hate
Right.
that mindset when it comes to these things.
And 100%. And I'll even take it a step further and to say that people that think that this is for one and against another are idiotic, because here's the thing. If I'm gonna make a movie about Compton, that movie's gonna contain predominantly Black people.
Why?
If I'm going to make a movie, well, because Compton is predominantly
no.
Black people.
There you go. See, exactly. Because
um,
you're trying to accurately represent the culture of Compton, right?
Right. And so if I'm going to do a movie about Washington Heights, it's going to be primarily Latin people, because that's the people those are the faces that walk around Washington Heights. So
Exactly.
if the movie was about Harlem, if the movie was based in Harlem and it was about a bunch of Mexican people, I might scream misrepresentation.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
there are Latin people in Harlem, so that would kind of be stupid in its own right. But
no,
big
no, I see
time.
where you're shooting at.
But you see what I'm shooting at? Like it's a representation of an area. Like really, the movie is more so supposed to be about the 3 days in Washington Heights than it even is about the Latin culture. But like
You're right.
one last thing, going back to that song Carnaval de Barrio, even throughout it, it represents. They have Dominican, they have Puerto Rican, they have Mexican, they have, all
They represent
of the Latin,
all corners of Latin culture.
and so for anybody to have an issue with this movie, go jump off a fucking cliff. Like I hate to say it like that. Go jump off a fucking cliff, because at the end of the day, this movie was very well done, and I thought it gave anybody who was willing to have an open heart and open eyes, and eyesight into some of the strongest key points of Latin culture, and it did it with a musical tone that could get you jumping out your seat. Every song, shit, I was dancing.
Literally,
when
like,
walking
that
around
shit's
talking about
so
Piragua.
good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yo, that's my dog, Piragua.
Yeah.
My daughter's like, "What's a Piragua?" I was like, "It's like an ice cone, baby. It's like."
Don't worry, just let me do my thing.
Yeah,
Don't fuck up my groove.
But she is just, but that movie taught all the lessons that I think a lot of people need to learn today about how important it is to know your own culture, as well as expanding out and learning others. And this gave a very good insight.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right, brother. So last words, and then we're calling it a night. Thank y'all for listening. Alpha, take us away.
You know how it goes. Oh, my people. God, this was a good episode. It was a real good one. I'm real happy with this one. So thank you for sticking around and watching us on whatever platform that you're watching us on. Be safe, my people, and I'll see you next time, huh? Peace.